lots of times.
He's a producer?
Hey, I'm looking for Mrs. Bubblegum. Yeah, you know I need the sweet love, cocoa butter kisses that I could only dream of. Making people want the love we have when they see us. I love ya, I want ya, girl, I really need ya. Is it real? Is it real? See, I don't want to question it. Is it real? Is it real? I think that's a definite. I thank God every day, cause yeah, she really heaven sent. See, God don't make mistakes. My baby's really evidence. Kisses on the cheek that I can't get enough of. You keep the smile on my face from sun up to sun up. I take you out on dates and I could buy you roses. See, I know this ain't perfection, but this really the closest. The fussing and the fighting isn't necessary. The Valentine's for us is not only in February. Anything you want, man, you can get it out of me. See, I just ask for loyalty, man. Show me that you down for me.
Yo, we are back. We are back. Solo episode today. Welcome back to Baller Central. Today is our first NBA live pod of the year. I'm excited because, NFL is nice and all, but I am a NBA head, basketball head at heart. Basketball is my favorite sport. So whenever NBA time comes around, that's always when I enjoy sports the most. So, hey, if you're new, if you're watching, welcome back. Well, welcome first. If you're first time watching, listening, Baller Central, just a podcast with talking sports, a fun group of guys, jokes and sports mixed together all in our unique way. And hey, we go live now twice a week, once for NFL and one for NBA, to talk all that good stuff, whatever happens in the week for NFL, and then just for until NBA starts, we're giving you our predictions and outlooks for each conference and our prediction for the final week for opening week. So, like I said, if you're new here, make sure you like and comment down below. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe and put a notification so you know when we go live on YouTube. And if you're listening via audio, make sure you follow us on all the audio platforms. We're live on all of them. I believe even Google Podcasts, even though they take their time, uploading our audio. But with that being said, I'm your boy Phil. I'm the Celtics fan of the group. If you're new here, John, our Knicks guy, Elijah, our Mavs, TJ, Knicks, Waleed, 8th, Knicks. So yeah, it's very, Knicks heavy on our side. But hey, we're New York based though, sort of. Yeah, it is what it is. But we're here to give my Western Conference outlook. And what is that going to entail? It's going to entail each team's off season, players to look out for. Maybe I'll give one or two for each team. And then at the end of the video, end of the live, I'm going to do a little tier list of how I think each team's season is going to play out this year. A little tier list online, like 5 tiers, where they rank, et cetera, et cetera. So with that being said, we do have a comment. Hold on. Whoops. Hey, Celtics Nation in the building as well. Pistol Pack. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate your views always. Every time I go live on Twitch, there's always that one viewer, and I know it's you. Appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. Celtics Nation, we in the building, ready to repeat. But we'll be talking about that next week, Eastern Conference. I'm talking about Western Conference solely today. But it's still Celtic Nation regardless, so thank you. So let's get into it. I'm going to go with the Blazers offseason first. I'm going to share the screen. See, basically, I'm going to be on the left side, and their offseason is going to be on the right side. So I'm going to pull that up right now for you. So, boom. Yeah, not a crazy offseason for the Blazers this year, but nonetheless, it's just basically going to be one of the bottom dwelling teams, not going to lie to you. They traded for Denny. They got a very, very good draft pick, in my opinion. Could be the steal of the draft with Donovan Klingon from UConn. He was a great player last year and been a great player for college the last couple of years. He's been one of the highly touted big men in the draft this year, so great pickup by the Trailblazers. They also got rid of Malcolm Brogdon's contract and basically re-signed some people as well. So they traded for Danny Advia from the Wizards, and they got Devontae Graham as well. Honestly, yeah, not too much going for this Portland Blazers team. Besides, just keep tanking. You have DeAndre Ayton, you have Jeremy Grant, so I don't know why he resigned there, but hey, it is what it is. Anthony Simons, I don't know if him and Scoot Henderson can coexist together. Maybe one of them might get moved so the other can develop. But I think they like Scoot, so maybe it might be Anthony Simons on the way out because he's been there like 2, 3, 4 years and nothing's changed. So maybe he might want to go to a winner as soon as his contract's up. That's what I would do personally. So yeah, don't expect much from this Portland Blazers team this year. Just the same bullshit from last year. Ayton, I mean, he's up and down. I don't know why he stayed either, or he got traded there, but I don't know if he finishes out his career there. Maybe he tries to move to a winner as well. But yeah, this is just going to be one of the bottom dwelling teams of the league. Honestly, look for Scoot Henderson to have a bounce back year from last year because he was struggling last year. He was putting up terrible numbers, but then he kind of bounced back and kind of got back to earth in the middle and end of the season. So look out for that. And honestly, the rookie, Donovan Klingon, I think eventually, he's going to be the substitute and permanent replacement for DeAndre Ayton because sooner rather than later, he could be a very, very talented big. So keep an eye out on Mr. Donovan. Next up, we're going to go with the Jazz. This is the Northwest Division, by the way. We're going with this division first. So next up, we're going to talk about the Jazz. Where are they? Utah Jazz. Oh, it's by first letter. Okay. So Utah Jazz, another team I'm not too high on this year, just because I think they should be rebuilding instead of trying to go with Laurie. So you have Isaiah Collier, Drew Eubanks. They added Kyle Filipkowski from Duke, which a lot of people were saying that this was a steal since he's supposed to go like top 10, top 15. Also added Patty Mills, the veteran. So they also lost Darius Baisley. They lost Chris Dunn, Taylor Horton Tucker. Wow. I thought they were going to keep him forever with the way they cherished him. So I think this is just like the Blazers. But I do think the Jazz will be better than the Blazers just because they have better pieces than the Blazers. You got Lauri Markkanen, who was an all-star 2 years ago. You got Colin Sexton. You got some good guards. Isaiah Collier. I think he makes some noise as a rookie. But I think it's just going to be one of these teams there. They're going to be fighting for a playoff spot near the end of the year, but I don't think they'll make it. They'll probably be like, what was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They're probably between the 13th, 14th range for the West. So, yeah, I don't think the Jazz make the playoffs this year, but I just don't have high hopes for them. I think they should be tanking. I don't know why they wanted to get all these players, John Collins, Markkanen, and Kessler Walker or Walker Kessler reverse should be their main big, but hey, it is what it is. So look out for Walker Kessler this year, by the way, too, as a player to watch. I like him very much as a big. He's very, very talented old school big. He can get blocks. He's good down low. So I think he should be the starter, but he's their sixth man, I guess. So hey, it is what it is. Also look after Mr. Colin Sexton, guard for the Jazz. I think he should be doing good things as well. Like, I don't see them competing, but I'm pretty sure he'll get his stats regardless. So it is what it is. Next up, we're going to go with the Denver Nuggets. Now, the Denver Nuggets lost to, I believe, the Timberwolves last year in the playoffs. So we're going to go to the Nuggets. Now, this was a very, very interesting offseason for the Nuggets. They didn't add much. I think the only thing they added was through the draft, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check. Andrew Funk, yep. Trey Alexander, Bediako, Andrew Funk, PJ Hall. Yeah, so most of their additions was through the draft, and I think undrafted free agents as well. But this was another offseason where the Denver Nuggets didn't add anyone significant, but then lost someone significant as well. 2 years before, I believe it was who was it? It was Bruce Brown. Then last year it was KCP, one of the best defenders and 3-point shooters. So it might be scary for Denver this year, just because they keep losing pieces, but not adding any in return. So they're hoping on players like what's the name, Christian Braun to step up. They're looking for players on the bench to step up as well, which I don't think they have a strong bench anyway. So it might be tough. I don't think they reached the conference finals this year. Yes, they have Jokic, yes, they have other people, but it might be tough. They signed Russell Westbrook. They also signed Russell Westbrook, which he'll probably be the sixth man. I think he'll bring a lot of energy, but I think that this is a guaranteed playoff team, but I don't think they make the Western Conference Finals, if we're being honest. I think there's teams that are better than them and have more depth than the Nuggets. So look out for Russell Westbrook. He played his first game in Abu Dhabi against the Celtics, my team. He was making threes. Maybe we might see a renaissance with Russ with this time more shooting based, because the one thing that's been struggling with him throughout his career was his jump shot. So maybe he focused on that more this year. So obviously he's not what he used to be, but I think he'll be a much better jump shooter in the last 2 or 3 years than for this year. And also, do I want to say look out for? I mean, hopefully Michael Porter Jr. steps up, because last year after the Lakers series, gone. Jamal Murray gone. So hopefully those players can not only just play well against the Lakers, they can play well against everyone else. Because yikes, they had a very, very scary series after the Lakers series. They're basically, I think someone said they're basically built to beat the Lakers, which is hilarious. So yeah, not much for the Nuggets. The next up, we're gonna go Minnesota. So Minnesota, they lost Kyle Anderson. They lost Jordan McLaughlin, but they did add some pieces via trade and via draft. They got Rob Dillingham, which is going to be, I think, a lightning spark off the bench, because I believe they'll be like their 6th or 7th man. And they also traded away Karl Anthony Towns to the Knicks, but they got Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo in return. Now, I think I said it on a previous pod. I think I said it on the NFL pod, but I don't know how I feel about this trade, for being honest. If you look at the starting lineup, which should be Conley, Ant, Jaden McDaniels, Randall, and Gobert, besides Anthony Edwards, no one on that team scares you offensively. Yeah, you need Julius Randle to be consistent, which, if he can, decent trade, but I think Cats are better offensively. I think they downgraded in offense this year, and I think it's going to be more centered around if Anthony Edwards can bail him out or not, because Michael Conley doesn't scare you in offense. Jaden McDaniels is only defense. Julius Randle, we've seen at times, can force up bad shots, bad shot selection, et cetera, et cetera. And Rudy Gobert, we know, is a cone on offense, but his only unique ability is paint defense, which he's one of the best in the league, and no matter how you feel about him defensively, because if we're being honest, if you drag him out the paint, he's a cone on defense as well. He's only there for being a paint presence and like a lob threat, sort of. So yeah, I'm worried about this Wolves team. Yes, you have Naz Reid and Rob Dillingham to help on offense off the bench, but near the end of the game, if Ant Edwards is not on, who's gonna take that pressure off of them to help the team score late? That's the biggest question I have with the Timberwolves this year. Who's going to be that second consistent scorer behind Anthony Edwards? Hopefully, it has to be Julius Randle at this point, because Dante DiVincenzo can also help you off the bench with shooting. But Julius Randle, you traded your number 2 for Julius Randle, so it's fair to say that this number 2 has to be Julius Randle, because you traded for him. So good luck, Minnesota, though. Next up, we got the OKC Thunder coming up. Now, I loved the OKC Thunder offseason this year, if we're being honest. I loved their offseason. I absolutely loved it. First of all, you trade for Alex Caruso, and you swap him out for Josh Giddey. and that move alone is great. You get an upgrade in defense, and you put more of the ball handling duties on SGA, who sometimes kind of collided and clashed with Josh Giddey. So he could Caruso can shoot and somewhat be reliable on offense. So even better floor spacing wise. And Josh Giddey was having trouble last year shooting anyway, so I trust Caruso to hit a three more likely than Josh Giddey. So better floor spacing, better defense. So Caruso is automatically an upgrade from Josh Giddey. They lost Josh Giddey. Also, the other great move they made, Isaiah Hartenstein. This might have been the move of the offseason or one of the top moves of the offseason, just because, yes, Chet Holmgren is, a rising star, rising young player, but you have someone, Isaiah Hartenstein, that can pass well as a center and set reliable and good screens. And that's something that SGA has been lacking ever since he joined this team. I think he had Steven Adams shortly, but I don't know how long. But a talented big that can pass and set screens will open up SGA's game so much more, and Isaiah Hartenstein is just the perfect guy to do that. I don't know if he's starting him. I don't know. The starting lineup is going to be what? SGA, Caruso, J-Dub, Holmgren, and Hartenstein, maybe. I don't know what the exact starting lineup is, but whenever Isaiah Hartenstein's in the game, it's automatically a positive impact because he can set screens, play defense, and he can pass. So I think SGA is going to have a great year. I think he's going to have a better year than last year because he has a player like Hartenstein that could set screens and do other stuff, pick and rolls. So I love the OKC Thunder offseason this year. So great offseason by them. I have very, very high hopes for them this year after they got knocked out of the playoffs as a number one seed, I think, to the Mavericks in the second round. So I'm hoping for a better season for them. Now for the Northwest, Blazers, Jazz, Nuggets, Wolves, Thunder. I have the Thunder winning the division. I think it's between the Nuggets or Wolves to come in second. Honestly, I think the Wolves get it, the second seed. Nuggets get the third seed. So the division, Thunder, Wolves, Nuggets. But I won't be surprised if Wolves and Nuggets are flipped around. And then Jazz and then Blazers. That's how I see the Northwest standing out. So that's my picks for the Northwest. Next up, we're going to do the Southwest. So we're going to go to the Spurs real quick. Oop. Boom. If I can pick it, there we go. Also, if you're new, just a reminder, feel free to say what's up in the chat. Let me know how you're doing today. Who's your team? And if it's in the West, let me know. If it's in the East, feel free to let me know regardless. We'll talk about them next week. So the San Antonio Spurs, that's the first team we're going to talk about today for the Southwest Division. Honestly, I don't see this team competing for the next 2, maybe 3 years, but they're doing whatever they can to help Wemby develop. And signing a veteran like Harrison Barnes, they got a young guard and Stephon Castle to help run the points. If, let's say, Jeremy Sokan doesn't work out at point guard, even though I don't know why you put in a power forward at point guard, but Stephon Castle, one of the best guards in the draft, you got at UConn at the number 4 pick. So the point guard of the future to help Wemby as well. And the best move of their offseason was grabbing Chris Paul. Now, yes, Chris Paul is up there in age. Yes, Chris Paul can sometimes be a cone on defense due to his age, but he is still one of the elite passing point guards in the league. He can get you anywhere around 6, 7 plus assists per game. And with someone like Wemby, his veteran leadership and vision can help Wemby score in ways he couldn't even imagine last year. One of the plays in the offseason, he threw an alley straight to Wemby, and it was a beautiful alley. So I think having Chris Paul there, I don't know if he finishes his career there, but Chris Paul has had a positive effect on teams' win percentage the year he joined. So look out for that as well. So I think they get more wins than last year due to the Chris Paul effect, but I think the partnership of Chris Paul and Wembanyama is really going to help Wembanyama become an even better player than he already is, because he was already a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. He was going crazy. So having the knowledge and learning from Chris Paul to do certain stuff, like having that type of veteran in your locker room to help teach you with one of the best coaches of all time, Greg Popovich, great for Wemby. No one's expecting playoffs. No one's expecting great things from San Antonio off rip, but moves like this along the process can help you guys in the long term, especially with Wemby being your franchise guy. So shout out San Antonio. So up next, we're going to go to Houston, Atlanta, Vegas, a.k.a. Houston Rockets. So I'm going to pull this down. So yeah, not too much noise from the Rockets this year. I think they pretty much kept the same team they're rolling with. But they do gain Steven Adams, who was traded from the Grizzlies to the Rockets in the midseason, but couldn't play, obviously, because he was out for the year with an injury. But you have a good backup behind Sengun, which I think the roster or the coaching should be more centered around Sengun. I believe him and Jalen Green should be your cornerstones. And maybe Jabari Smith. I've seen Jabari Smith show flashes, but Sengun should be your main guy along with Jalen Green. So I don't see much from the Rockets because they were fighting for that last place spot versus the Warriors for near the end of the year. I do like Ime Udoka since he was a former head coach of the Celtics. Reed Shepherd, look out for him. For a player to watch for him, Reed Shepherd, for the young Rocket squad, they're looking for a forward, a guard / forward. I think he fits the bill. Yes, you still have Dylan Brooks and others. You still have Fred VanVleet there, but I think coming off the bench, maybe as a sixth man, I think Reed Shepherd can be in that Rookie of the Year conversation just because the scoring and facilitating is crazy. So look out for Reed Shepherd this year. And also my guy, Sengun, look out for him. So I see the Rockets. I think they'll be fighting for the playoffs, but I think they barely miss it. I think just like last year. So yeah, not much for the Rockets. Next up, we're going to talk about the Gumbo. We're going to talk about the New Orleans Pelicans. So the New Orleans Pelicans, they made some moves this year. They also let Jonas Valanciunas walk, which and reports are they're having Herb Jones start as center. So oof. But they also did trade for Mr. DeJounte Murray, which I think is an upgrade over whoever the point guard was. You couldn't have CJ McCollum running combo guard the whole time. Also, it's a huge upgrade over Jose Alvarado. Yes, he's probably a beloved role player for the Pelicans, but let's be honest, he wasn't getting the job done. Yes, he had those highlight steals with hiding behind the bench or something like that, but DeJounte Murray brings that offense and somewhat defense because he's sort of reliable on defense. He just brings a better offense to the Pelicans, and that's something they need. So I think the starting lineup will be like what DeJounte, CJ, Zion, Trey Murphy, and I think Herbert Jones, because I think they're talking about starting him at center because they lost Cody Zeller and Giannis, and not Giannis, but Jonas. So I don't know. I think the Pelicans are pretty much going to be middle of the pack. I think they barely make the playoff. They barely make the playoffs / play-in. So I think they'll be a top 8, top 10 team. But yeah, unless we see specific progress from Zion, because he's been struggling with his body and injuries, because he's the piece that would make them go. He's the franchise star for a reason. If he doesn't perform, and we forgot there's also Brandon Ingram, so maybe Zion a power forward and Ingram a small forward. So maybe DeJounte, CJ, Ingram, Zion, and then you have Mr. Herbert Jones at center. Trey Murphy probably comes off the bench. So yeah, I think this will be a solid playoff team, but I think it'll be probably like a first round exit, depending on how situations go. So honestly, Zion, please have a decent season. Stay healthy, have a decent season. He's my guy to watch. Also, look after Herbert Jones. I like him as the role player. He's one of the best defenders in the league. He needs to build more offense, but he is able to lock down. Hopefully, he can lock down these centers because, you're going to have to face Jokic. You're going to have to face Anthony Davis. He's going to have to face a lot of matchups in this West with big. So hopefully, he can have a decent season guarding them. So look out for those two. Next up, we're going to go Memphis. Now, Ja Morant played a couple games last year, but due to injury, he was right back on the shelf. So it's going to be interesting. I feel like a lot of people forgot about Memphis. Ja Morant hurt, Marcus Smart hurt, Desmond Desmond Bain hurt. It was so bad. They brought in two-way players and the G Leaguers to fill out the roster. That's how many injuries there were on this Memphis team. So a lot of people really forgot about Memphis. But they did have some nice additions. Zach Edey is now their starter since they got rid of Mr. Steven Adams. So I think the lineup will probably be what? Morant, Smart, Bain. Maybe it depends who that small forward will be. That small forward spot should be. And then Jaren Jackson Jr. back at the four where he should be, and Zach Edey. So honestly, I'm interested to see how Zach Edey plays because he was drafted a top 10 pick. And overall, when a lot of people were doubting him whether he should be drafted even. So, oh yeah, a lot of people during his college years called him overrated. He's going to struggle in the league, etc., since he's not very versatile. He can only do certain things, basically like another Rudy Gobert. So we'll see how he turns out. But the height, well, that's gonna be a very, very tough paint to go into with Jaren Jackson Jr. and Zach Edey. So best of luck anyone attacking the paint against the Memphis Grizzlies. So we'll see how that plays out. Honestly, yeah, keep an eye on Zach Edey. John Morant obviously is someone that people probably forgot about because he was suspended for the IG moments and he was injured last year. So John Morant, make sure you remind these people who you are. Forget the highlights. Just make sure you take care of yourself. Just because of the struggling to shoot, the attacking, the careless and recklessness driving to the paint. That's how careers get shortened. That's how you lose a step or two due to injuries. Develop that jump shot, mid-range, three-pointer, and then take smart drives. Don't just go in there all willy-nilly, just looking for a foul. That's how you get hurt. That's how you cut years off your playing career. So make sure you take the necessary adjustments you need to make sure you play a long, long time, or at least how long you want to. It's up to you. But yeah. And then the last team in the Southwest we're going to look at, the defending Western Conference champions, the people who faced the Celtics in the finals last year, which a good amount of people said they were going to beat. So the Dallas Mavericks. Now, honestly, I'm kind of iffy on this team. This is my co-host / brother, Ball Central brother Elijah's team. They added Spencer Dinwiddie, which the Lakers had him. He didn't do anything on the Lakers, and he didn't do anything on the Mavs. So I don't know why you add him back. Maybe because familiarity and just for guard depth. But they added Dinwiddie. They added Klay Thompson, who's most likely going to be their small forward, which yikes. You have Luka, who struggles on defense, Kyrie, who struggles on defense. Well, not struggles, but they're not the best well-known defenders, and they're not good defenders or known as good defenders. And Klay, who's up there in age, who was struggling last year, especially on defense. So you have the 1 through 3 positions who basically are food on defense, if we're being honest. But those guys can score their asses off. Klay is hit or miss. They also added Quentin Grimes for three-point shooting. Yeah, but other than that, I don't know. They got rid of Tim Hardaway Jr., which was always a plus because he was struggling anyways. But could they make it back to the finals? I don't know. But they're always going to be a guaranteed playoff team with Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. I think they'll be decent offensively just because they have Klay to spread out the floor and shoot threes when he can. But the worry about me from Mavericks last year as well is going to be the defense. How are you guys going to guard players that are well endowed or have strength at the point guard, shooting guard, small forward position? Who is Klay Thompson going to guard when you guys play teams like the Suns, the Lakers, the Thunder, etc.? Does Klay Thompson still have it on defense? Because he was a great two-way player back then, but can he do that now? So my worry for Dallas is going to be defense. So we'll see. Players to look after also this year for the Mavs. It's going to be, I believe, Derek Lively because he showed flashes last year. I think he can be really decent. And Luka. Obviously, a lot of people wanted him to be MVP last year, including myself, but they gave it to Jokic. So look for him to have another MVP type year like he always does for the last 3 years. So Luka Doncic, do your thing. Also, step up on defense. I think last year, his first finals trip, you learn a lot going through the motions, going through your first finals. A lot of people did. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown did. LeBron did against the Spurs. A lot of people lost their first finals and they use it as a learning curve. Do the same thing, Luka. Look what you did or could have done in those finals so you're ready for the next time you go, if you go. Because Chris Paul said it's an addiction going back to the finals and I can't help it. The doctor gave him the cure. He hasn't been to a final since. So make sure you remember and cherish your time in the finals because who knows if you ever make one, because a lot of people hadn't even made one and you already did in your young career. So make sure you learn from it, but also be grateful for it. So as for the Southwest, I have the Mavs coming in first in that division. Actually, no. Yeah, no, I have the Mavs, the Grizzlies, the Pelicans. No, I have the Mavs, Grizzlies. I know, yeah. Mavs, Grizzlies, first and second. Pelicans third. Rockets fourth. And I think Spurs fifth. I think, depending on Chris Paul, but yeah, I think that's the order for the Southwest Division, how it's going to play out in my words and idea. And then we have the last division in the West to go over, the Pacific Division. Now, I hate a lot of teams in this division just because I'm a Celtics fan, so this is going to be fun to do. So first off, we're going to go with the Sacramento Kings. They made the big move in signing a replacement for Harrison Barnes, which is, I believe, an upgrade in offense. They get former Chicago Bull, former Raptor, and former Spur. They get DeMar DeRozan, who's 35. So you get that. You get Devin Carter from Providence as well. You lose Chris Duarte. Honestly, I think this team might be the same as last year. I don't know, just because I think their weakness is going to be shooting. Sabonis will have trouble shooting. DeMar DeRozan always has trouble shooting. You lost Harrison Barnes, who was a decent 3-point shooter. Yeah, I think this team is going to struggle on defense. I mean, not on defense. I'm sorry, on the 3-point perimeter. So you have a lot of good attackers. Sabonis is good down low, but obviously struggles with mid range and threes. DeRozan, mid range, attacking the basket. Also, he's known to be a clutch player. De'Aaron Fox too. So you have two players who can win you the game in the last remaining minutes. So that's always good for a team like Sacramento. But I think something that they're going to have to try to fix or try to improve is going to be the 3-point shooting. In a 3-point shooting league, you're going to need that spacing. And I don't think they have it right now at the moment. Like, who is it? Malik Monk might have to become a starter, but they'll probably stay at 6-man. So what's the starting lineup? Sabonis, maybe Trey Lyles. It depends. But DeMar DeRozan, I think they might start Keon Ellis. Who knows? But De'Aaron Fox. So I think they need to. The biggest weakness for them is going to be 3-point shooting. Look out for Keon Ellis. He showed signs of the 3-and-D ability last year, so I think he might have another decent year this year. Maybe even better since that year was his rookie year or second year. So expect big things from him. Also, De'Aaron Fox. I mean, he's one of the most underrated players in the league, one of the fastest guards in the league. But the one thing that's been bothering the Sacramento Kings ever since I think they're like 2 years ago, they haven't been able to be consistent. And that 2 years ago was their peak. And last year they kind of fell off. So we're going to see if they can take a step up and be that same team from 2 years ago, or we're going to see more of the downfall with DeMar DeRozan. So it's very interesting to see how Sacramento does this year. Next up, we're going to go Los Angeles Clippers. Because, yeah, very, very rough offseason for them. They lost Paul George, and they lost Russell Westbrook. So they lost some pieces for sure. So, but they added Mo Bamba. They added Nick Batum. But I think the Clippers, I don't think they make the playoffs this year, for being honest. Yes, you have Kawhi Leonard. Yes, you have James Harden. But outside of that, yikes. Who do you have outside of Zubac? Is a very consistent center, but he's not going to be a difference maker too much. And Kawhi Leonard, let's be honest, he's probably going to be hurt at the end of the year anyway. So it's just going to be James Harden fighting for his life. So, yeah, don't be surprised if the Clippers don't make the playoffs this year just because the lack of star power or their lack of big scoring weapons. Because James Harden, he's not what he used to be, but I'm pretty sure he can facilitate and still score like 15, 20 a game. But with Kawhi not there, they're going to double, and then there's no one outside on that offense outside of Kawhi or Harden that will scare you. So it's going to be a scary season for the Clippers. It's going to look a lot like their FX show. So yeah, be prepared. Terrence Mann, look out for, and Zubac. I always like Zubac as a center, constant double machine. Very, very underrated defender in the paint as well. So yeah, look out for those two because those might be the few bright spots of the year for the Clippers. Oh, I know Lakers fans love hearing that. Okay, next up, the Warriors. Now, as a Celtics fan, seeing the Warriors beat us to have probably Steph's last ring was crazy. But they low-key had a decent offseason. Yes, you lose Chris Paul. Yes, you lose Klay Thompson. But what you lose in Klay Thompson as a three-point shooter, you gain in Buddy Hield as a somewhat as good of a three-point shooter as he's been the last couple of years. Because believe it or not, I think the last 3 or 4 years, Buddy Hield has made more threes than Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. I don't know how true that is, but maybe close to it. So you lose a splash brother, but you gain someone that can shoot the ball just as well or almost as well as Klay. So not a bad sub out for the Warriors. Also, Kyle Anderson, he's very underrated. He can do it all on the court, play defense, assist, score, etc., etc. So that's a nice addition for the Warriors. But I don't know. They might start off slow. What they got? Curry. They probably will start Podozemski. Oh, it'll probably be. Here's probably the starting lineup. It'll probably be Curry, Kuminga, Wiggins, Draymond. And I think the guy, who is the center that starts for them now? The young one. I forgot his name, but yeah, him. So honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the Warriors miss the playoffs, but I think they're gonna be one of those teams fighting for a playoff spot, but just misses it like last year. Or they get in the play-in and then lose. So I expect them to be like a top 10, top 11 team in the league next year. But I don't see it making any more noise. I think the days of the Warriors' dominance and them being a feared playoff team are done. Not because Steph is losing a step, because Steph is still one of the best point guards in the league. It's probably one of the greatest point guards ever. It's just the team around him. Draymond's older. Klay's gone. Chris Paul's gone. The defense is gone. The spacing is gone. Everything's gone except for Steph Curry. So he's going to be, if he finishes his season out in Golden State, he's going to be fighting for his life. So good luck, Steph. Next up, the Phoenix Suns, who I made so many jokes over last year. And rightfully so, because they underwhelmed in massive ways. They were underwhelming in so many ways. So yeah. Who did they add? Hold on, I'm going through the ads. They added Moses Wood, Mason Plumlee. They re-signed mostly everyone on their team. Okay, so they missed some people as well. Let me get rid of that. So yeah, they got swept by the Minnesota Timberwolves to get bounced out of the first round. So yeah, they were dealing with a lot of injuries as well. Booker missed some games. Bradley Beal missed like 30-something games. So honestly, with a team that's built the same way as it is last year, yeah, and they lost some pieces as well. Eubanks, they lost Eric Gordon. I just don't see a lot from this team. I'm going to keep the same hope and same energy as I did with the Suns last year. You guys having Booker, Kevin Durant, and Beal is nice on offense, but if they're not together and building team chemistry and not healthy at the right times, this is a first round knockout every single time, and it has been last year. I think they make it to they're a playoff team always for sure, just because of Kevin Durant, Booker, and somewhat Bill when he's available. But will they make any noise in the playoffs? I think at most this is a second round exit. So, but depending on the matchup, depending on who they play is very, very crucial in the first round to see where they go from there. If they face someone like a Denver, if they face someone like an OKC, if they even face the Mavs, I think this is the first round knockout for Phoenix just because of their depth. So, yeah, Kevin Durant is always going to be Kevin Durant, one of the best scorers in the league in all time. Devin Booker, Yusuf Nurkic, decent as well. Yeah, look for Booker and Durant to help keep the Suns team afloat. Just because I feel like if we're going to see the same thing we saw from Bradley Beal, he's going to miss some games. So Devin Booker and Kevin Durant have to carry, and I think we're expecting the same thing. I think we're going to expect the same scenario from Phoenix, or maybe closer. Best case scenario, second round exit. Worst case scenario, first round exit. I think they still make the playoffs off of the talent of Kevin Durant and Booker. So yeah, let's see. Next up, we have the last team we're going to talk about. And as a Celtics fan, I wanted to make sure I talked about this team last. The Los Angeles Lakers. Now, as a Celtics fan, there's a lot of history with this team. So, they didn't have a very good offseason. Let's be honest. They didn't trade for anybody. They signed, they had a good draft at least. Dalton Connect was one of the highly liked picks in the draft. Also, they got Bronny James, but I don't know how much NBA time he's gonna actually have. I still think that he needs to be in the G League and develop his offense because his defense is decent. It's just his offense needs some work. So I think Bronny James realistically, he's not gonna be he's not going to be phenomenal overnight. He's not going to be great overnight. He's not going to be good overnight. But if you don't want him to get eaten alive by this media in this league, let him develop in the G League. Let him develop. That's the biggest thing. Especially with so much pressure being LeBron James' son and being on the same team as him. Oh, they might be setting this guy up to fail early. But if you don't listen to the noise, let him develop properly, he can be a serviceable player in the NBA. A nice 3-and-D player, if you will. Okay, I'm trying to figure out who they signed. Christian Coloco, Christian Olivardi, Quincy Olivari. That was the guy dapping up LeBron early in that video. So Jordan Goodwin, Bronny James, Kyle Kelly, Dalton Connect. Yeah, look out for Dalton Connect. I think he might be a solid 6-man for them. He might be like the first or second man off the bench. So I think he's going to have a decent season. He's a decent scorer. He was a steal at 17. And also look out for, I think Austin Reeves has a nice bounce back season because last year he was kind of struggling. I have no hope for D'Lo. I'm sorry. I thought D'Lo should have been traded. After he had a one decent game in the playoffs, he went back to being unreliable. So it's going to be very scary for this Lakers team. I think. Yes, you have LeBron James, Anthony Davis, but they're getting older, so LeBron might miss some time here and there. Anthony Davis, I think he had his healthiest season last year, so shout out AD. But I think the Lakers should have started the rebuild 2 years ago. They never should have made those moves after that coach left. So yeah, I think they're stuck now, and they're at the mercy of LeBron James. I think it's gonna. I don't think they're gonna win any championships with LeBron James and Anthony Davis and that team. Their goal is to win, but JJ Redick might have some time struggling to find a consistent roster or consistent lineup with this team. Which obviously he's going to be a new head coach, so obviously there's going to be struggles off the rip. But yeah, I don't see too much. I think they'll be a playing team as always. They'll be a top 8 to 10 team, but I don't see them making any noise, especially if they face Denver again in the first round. So because we know Jamal Murray and PJ love playing against the Lakers, so not much going from them. As for the Pacific, I see the Suns winning this division just because of the talent. I think the Clippers, honestly, they might come in last. I'm not going to hold you. I got Suns, Lakers, Kings. Suns, Lakers, Warriors, Kings, Clippers. That's what I got. Honestly, I think the Kings might jump some people, surprise some people, so I won't be surprised if they're the second or third best team in this division. But yeah, that's how I have it. Okay, so before we head out, I'm going to do a quick tier list of the NBA conference. So I'm going to break down the Western Conference into 5 categories: title contender, a deep playoff threat, playoff caliber team, playing team, and tanking. So I'm just going to go by this list down below one by one. Hopefully I can X this out so there's no ads in the way. Okay, so I'm going to make this an own video. So I'm going to do the countdown. 3, 2, 1. Yo, welcome back to Baller Central with your boy Phil. And today I will be giving you my Western Conference outlook for the season this year. I'm going to be separating these teams into 5 categories, as you see to your right. Title contender, deep playoff threat, playoff caliber team, and playing team, and tanking. So if you're new here, welcome to Baller Central. Sports and comedy mixing together. I'm one of your hosts, Phil. John, Elijah, TJ, and Waleed are part of the team as well. Make sure you like and comment down below, subscribe, put a notification so you know we upload. And with that being said, let's get into this list. So we're going to do the easy ones. Tanking for sure. These are not final. I think I might switch them around at the end, but these are my first reactions. Jazz, I think they'll be. I'll say play-in. I think they'll be play-in. Lakers, playoff caliber. Mavs, deep playoff threat. Nuggets with Jokic, title contender. I think the Mavs might be title contender too. We'll see. Move right here. Rockets, I think they'll be a play-in team. Spurs, easy tanking. Suns, playoff caliber. OKC, title contenders. Timberwolves, I think the playoff threat. And so, okay. So the play-in team will be 8, 9, 10. So I got to move somebody. Honestly, yeah. Actually, I just don't like the Clippers team this year. I'm sorry if there's any Clippers fans. Yeah, because the Lakers, the Mavs, Timberwolves, Thunder, and Nuggets are better than the Lakers. Honestly, I got to see how the Grizzlies play this year first before I say deep playoff threat. But they're definitely playoff worthy. So title contenders, Nuggets, OKC, deep playoff threat, Mavs and Timberwolves, and in playoff caliber teams, play-in team, Rockets, Kings, Blazers I don't like, Spurs are too young and not enough talent. Honestly, if I could switch someone for the Clippers, which I don't think I should, it'd probably be the Rockets. But honestly, I think the Rockets might jump the Clippers this year. So, hey, I think that's the move personally. I think this is the right grid or right tier list. So, hey, let me know what y'all think down below. Feel free to agree with me, disagree with me in the comments. I love having a conversation. If you enjoyed that video, make sure you like and comment down below, subscribe, and put a notification so you know when we go live for NBA Live podcast, NFL podcast, and videos. And with that being said, we'll see you next time on Baller Central. Yeah. Okay. That was pretty quick. I didn't expect it to be that fast. So, hey, let me know if you're in the comments. Let me know how you feel about the tier list. Okay, so that's the end of a pod. Pretty quick one. I think that was like 50 minutes since it's just me solo. So hey, if you enjoyed, if you want to, feel free to stay in tune with everything we do. Make sure you follow our socials, Ball Central 4 across all of them. Make sure you follow us on all the audio platforms. We're live on all of them. And we go live every Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesday for NFL, NBA for Thursdays. And hey, next week we're doing our Easter Conference predictions to see how the team plays out, including my Celtics. So hey, make sure you tune in. And with that being said, thank you. Enjoy WNBA playoffs, Thursday Night Football, etc., and everything else. MLB playoffs. So hey, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Deuces.
Bob, did you feel this way when you fell in love with Jean?
Oh, look. I've felt that way lots of times.
He's a producer.